Hello everybody, this is the board game Heroes and Monsters. Now, you can use magic cards. Now, the bottom number is what matters. The first bottom number is going to be the hit points of the monster, and the second one is how much damage it does. Now, for the character sheet for your hero, you need your name, your hit points, your damage, what sex you are, what race, class, speed, items, and each game you get one free reroll. That means you get to reroll, like if you want to hit somebody and you miss, you get to use that one reroll to try to hit. Now, next thing you do is what do you look like, your backstory. Now let's talk about the different classes. Now this is going to be different. It's going to be long range class, close range class, and healer class. Now, if you pick a long range class, you get a +1 bonus to your damage if it's over 20 feet. And as far as you can go is 120 feet. And now, each square on the board is worth 5 feet. So you do the math. If you have long range, you can shoot 120 feet and get that +1 bonus. Now, if you pick the close range bonus, you get a +1 to 10 to 20 feet. Anything past that, you don't get the +1. And you can't hit them with a melee weapon. Now, the healer class. You get 1d4 healing. It takes one action to do. To yourself or to one other. You can't do both. You can heal yourself or one other that's injured, that's in the same space as you. You can't be like a player across the board and say, I want to heal that person. They have to be in the same space. And what's great about trading items, so let's say you have item cards. We call them treasure cards in this game. If you're in the same room, you can give them to another player to help them out if you want. But you have to be in the same space. Now, the different races in the game. You have elf, you got dwarf, you got human. Now, elf, you get +1 on long range. And you have 60 feet of night vision. Now, other games, night vision is black and white. But in this game, you can see in full color at night. Or in darkness. And now, dwarves get a +1 in close range. And 60 feet of night vision. Now, humans get +2 on long range and close range. But they have no dark vision. So, if they can't see, they get a disadvantage. Now, disadvantage means you roll the dice twice and you take the lower number of the dice. Now, let's tell you how you fill out your character sheet. Now, for your hit points, you roll 1d6 for your hit points and for your damage. And that's how much hit points you have is the number on the dice and how much damage you can do. So let's say you roll 6 on damage. So if you hit, you can do 6 damage. Now, class, like I told you, there's long range and stuff. You decide which one you want. Race, you pick whichever you want, elf, dwarf, or human. Now, how treasure cards work. Now, you can kill a creature and look for treasure in the room. And if you find treasure, you roll 1d4 dice and see how many treasure cards you get. Now, this is cool. If you use 4 treasure cards, you can resurrect one hero that died in the game. Or even after the game, if you you have 4 cards left, say, I want to bring back this character. That's cool. Another thing you can do, with treasure cards is use one card to heal up by 1. So each card you can heal up 1 hit point. And another thing, if you're doing damage to a character, now before you use these cards, you must say, I'm using these cards for damage. So if you hit, and let's say you have 10 cards, that would be 10 damage plus the damage you already do to that monster. But if you miss, the cards are still used. They've been used and they have to be put back into the treasure deck. And you only can use healing or treasure cards only once, and then they go back into the deck. Now, movement on the board is you use 2d6. I mean, you don't use movement on 2d6. I mean, you look at the speed of your character. Now, the speed of your character, you roll a d6, and the number on the dice, and you multiply it by 10. So let's say you roll a 4 on a d6. Then you multiply it by 10, that'd be 40 steps. That's 40 feet you can move. Each square is worth 5 feet. So there you go. Do the math there. And that's how simple it is. Now, when you enter a room, there will be traps. Now, if you roll higher than the board, then there's no traps. But if you roll lower, there will be a trap. And then you go on the character sheet, the random table sheet, and roll the number 1d6. One is a poison dart. Second one is falling roof. Number 3 is fire statue. Number 4 is rolling boulder. The other one is boiling hot oil. Now, how you roll for damage is 1d4 for number 1. And you add d4 1 to each level you go up. So if it's number 2, you will be 1d4 plus 1. If it's 3, it's 1d4 plus 2. And go on until all the traps are set. And there you go. I think we covered most of everything. Oh, and for rest, if you sit down and rest a turn, you heal up 1. But you have a chance to find a wandering monster. A wandering monster is just a monster roaming around the hallways and the rooms that could focus hidden and see you resting. Now, how do you tell if a wandering monster pops up? You roll against the board. If you roll higher, no monster, and you get to rest. But if you roll lower, a monster appears and you must fight it, or you can run away. That's one thing you can do. If you roll to escape, if you roll high enough, higher than the monster, you can escape. But the monster's going to stay in that hallway or stay in that room. So when you have to come back through there or anything like that, the monster will be waiting. Now, if you enter combat with the monster, you cannot run away. You must finish the battle. So make smart decisions for your characters. I think that covers pretty much everything. You can use graph paper to make the board if you want, so you know where you're going. Or you can use different boards, games that have graph markers for your characters to move. And I hope this helps you out to play Heroes and Monsters, the board game.